Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is it's Thursday, November the 12th, 2020. It's another Technical Alpha podcast. We've got a quick and dirty one for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We are on a tight schedule, and so let's not waste any time. Mr. Black!
Yeah.
How was your week?
Busy.
Great.
But the same.
Awesome. Mine wasn't all that busy, which is also the same. Just before the podcast, Em decided to tie this thing around my head. I'm pretty sure this is some tool used to hold hair up. I don't have any, so I'm not sure why it's on my head, but here we are. It's kind of warm, so I'm going to keep it there for now.
All right.
You know, your head gets cold. Then she's looking at me weird because I kept it on. She didn't think I'd actually keep it on. She doesn't know yet that I have no shame. Ladies and gentlemen, we got lots to talk about this week. In short order, but we're going to get through it. We're going to get through it. This has been a big week in terms of, at the very least, the consoles both now have launched. PlayStation launched today. Xbox launched a couple of days ago. And so that happened. And of course, there's some news that has come along with that and other things. So let's hop right in. But first, because I only remember to do this once in a while, and by that I mean three times the entire podcast. If you're new here, welcome to the Technical Alpha Podcast. We talk about video games, movies, TV, and other dumb shit that people ask us. And we answer, and it's usually crazy. Welcome. Also, hit the like button. Leave a comment on YouTube. These podcasts go up the next day, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And now, to the news. Mr. Black, very important thing happened this week. Now, you might think, it's consoles, there's crazy shit coming out this week. No! The most important news this week, Mr. Black, is that one of the Fish Plays Pokemon streams has successfully and officially completed Pokemon Sapphire. A fish randomly swimming around in its tank has successfully completed Pokemon Sapphire. If that ain't fucking impressive, I don't know what is.
Congrats.
How is that even possible? I just gotta fucking, how is that even possible? Anything, it's just, apparently, I don't know how long this has been running, in terms of, how long, this has been swapping fish out in teams for years. How long does it take to randomly have inputs placed in before a fish successfully finishes Pokemon Sapphire? I don't know, but congratulations to the fish. Well done. I haven't even beaten Pokemon Sapphire, so you beat me to it. First Twitch plays Pokemon, which you didn't think, in a million years, you'd ever be able to get people to working together long enough to be able to finish Pokemon. Fuck that shit. A fish randomly beat Pokemon Sapphire. 2 thumbs up. Congrats goes out to the fish team. Next up, Twitch. We got several pieces of Twitch news this week, Jeff, as you might imagine. The first is just a bit of random stuff that I just thought was mildly amusing. I've seen this person stream a couple of times over the years, especially when I was more invested in League of Legends many moons ago. His Twitch username is Piece of Sheet.
I went to Germany with him.
You know the motherfucker. Piece of Sheet. Spelled PIECEOFSHEET. Piece of Sheet. Who's been on the platform for 8 years. Basically the entire lifespan of Twitch as a platform. I don't think he was there for Justin TV, but he'd be close. Damn close. But 8 years on the platform with that. And has been indefinitely banned for using an inappropriate username. Now, indefinitely means that, it's not set in stone permanent ban. I don't know if there's been a development yet where he's been brought back from the edge, but unfortunately, After 8 years, Twitch, it's like either a bunch of people mass reported them and it just automatically did this, or somebody after 8 years decided finally that's enough. We can't have poop jokes and 4-letter word references in our names. You can't do it. And so Piece of Sheet was unfortunately, unceremoniously, indefinitely banned. Can you see anything else? Is there any updates on that, Mr. Black?
I don't know. I haven't looked too much into it. I don't think he's been active on Twitch for a long time.
Which makes it even more hilarious to me.
Yeah. Like, it's been a long time. I'm just looking back here. And I mean, I don't think he's really been active at all since maybe 2018.
There you go.
And then very minimally in like 2017. Yeah, no, I actually, funny enough, my channel got reported for one of my emotes, my cream pie emote. So just some casual haters.
Yeah, of course.
Reported my emote. So anyway, I've actually I've had a Twitch rep that reached out about 2 or 3 months ago, and I just hadn't gotten around the time to sit down and chat. So anyway, when that happened, I reached out and he helped me get the emote back up. We just had to change it to like pie instead of call it cream pie. It's just pie for obvious reasons. But yes. I mean, like, you know, but one good thing came out of that is I actually sat down because I have a Twitch rep.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I actually sat down with him for about an hour and 45 minutes.
Wow.
Last week.
Wow.
And we talked till wee hours of the night.
Wow.
And bro.
Wow.
I told him I'm not going to go over the whole conversation because, you know, but I told him how I felt about the platform, what they're doing. You know,
I'm sure they were thrilled to hear it.
My space, my space within Twitch. That they see, he's super nice dude. He actually did seem thrilled to hear it. And
well, it's not, he's not making any of those decisions.
He's not making any decisions. Like he can take feedback and bring it to the ones that, you know, make the decisions.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we talked in depth about my partnership, sort of, you know, where I'm going with my channel and things like that. But then, you know, talked about DMCA, talked about celebrations, talked about a lot of stuff. And it was a great talk. But once again, you know, he's not the one that makes decisions. So ultimately, you know, it is what it is. But
his job is basically to sit there and nod and say yes to everything that you're saying, and then at best take it to people.
Yeah, well,
and lay it out in front of them.
Yes. That was a lot of it. He did push back on some of the stuff, and he explained some things, and I can talk to you privately about it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
I think it's more of a platform for that.
Yeah,
because I don't want anything taken out of context here. Fucking next thing you know, it like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, does such and such says whatever. But yeah, let's just say it's what we thought. You know, it's there's people making decisions that, you know, that are decision makers for profits. You know what I mean? It's a corporate company now, and that's just the way it is. So a lot of these things are just painted with a brush, and you keep seeing dumb shit, like, you know, tweets that came out, was it yesterday, about DMCA, and they're like, hey, you know, they even responded to like one of the people like, hey, you know, if there's music in game, you know, try and find an option within the menus to turn it off, or just mute the game sound. It's like, you know, how do you even write that?
I've got this coming up. I've got the Twitter thread for that coming up, because they posted it at like fucking 5 o'clock in the morning or something. Shit was like super late. They threw that out there, and yeah, we'll talk about that here next. I guess should I just dive into that?
You may as well just dive into it.
I'm hitting the microphone with my amazing headpiece, so I'm just gonna, I don't know what way this goes. Here we go. There we go. Now we're talking. So, yeah, let me pull this up. I've got the link to the Twitter feed here.
By the way, I've been on hold with insurance for about 40 minutes.
Awesome.
And it's sitting upstairs with Kayla for whenever they answer. Whenever that happens, she's going to run down here and tell me.
Okay.
And I got to run upstairs and just pay something with a credit card, and then I'll be back.
That's fine.
Just give you a heads up.
So Twitch posted this 12:21 a.m. I guess technically today, actually, because they posted, I mean, like last night, but technically today. 12:21 a.m. Said we've seen several tweets from creators worried that they've received an erroneous strike and how best to deal with that. There are a few different situations being referenced and different ways to resolve them. We've heard from many of you that clips you've tried to delete using our mass deletion tool were still flagged. For these approximately 20 cases, we've fixed the issue and will reach out to affected creators. They won't receive a DMCA strike. Some people believe that the small subset of clips that may exist only in certain parts of Twitch's backend systems are the subject of DMCA notifications. That is not the case. We also understand that third-party tools have been used to delete potentially infringing content. Unfortunately, we can't verify their effectiveness or that deletion was attempted in this case. If using third-party tools, please confirm that they've deleted your content. For those who feel that they have been wrongly targeted by a DMCA notification, whether you own the rights, believe it to fall under fair use, think the rights holder is mistaken, you can file a counterclaim notification, guidance for how to do so, and then they link it. So that was one thread that they put out. And then the first part of that is here. So on the 11th, so basically how this went, that was the latest tweet, but they also had one on November 11th that started the DMCA thread as well. And then, so it was basically this, then a GlitchCon merchandise advertisement, and then the next thread about DMCA. This is like the most tone deaf fucking Twitter account on earth. So your frustration and confusion with recent music-related copyright issues is completely justified. Things can and should be better for creators than they have been recently. The next few tweets will outline our plan for being better partners to creators. We were as surprised by the number of music-related DMCA takedowns as you were. Press X to doubt. Press X as hard as humanly possible to doubt. Before May, we received fewer than 50 per year. Press X to doubt. One more time. Pour one out for your homies. Now, we're receiving thousands each week. I don't doubt that. This led to the warning emails some of you received in October. 3 days was simply not enough time for most
You don't say.
You know,
you don't say. No
Jeff,
way.
Look.
No way.
Jeff, we thought about it. Ironically,
Wow.
we thought about it for more than 3 days. And as it turns out, 72 hours is not enough time, Jeff.
You know, it might be enough for people that started streaming 2 months ago. But, you know, everybody else.
Oh my god. 3 days was simply not enough time for most creators to sort through all of their VODs and clips. You're like a decade worth of shit, no problem. We should have to.
3 months might not be enough. I'm not even joking. Like they should have came out in the summer and said, guys, starting January 1st, 2021,
you're fucked.
Shit's getting real. So I'm gonna tell you right now, start. Go out, buy your hard drives, figure out what you need to do, download this, go through that. You've got 3-4 months. January 1st, 2021. It's there ain't no more leeway. If it happens, it happens. 3 days, 72 hours?
It's a no. Oh wait, hold on. Not enough time for most creators to sort through all of their VODs and clips. We should have developed more sophisticated and user-friendly tools long ago. No shit. No shit. To all the creators who lost their community's best moments, we're sorry. This shouldn't have happened. No shit. Our full blog post includes far more details, but there are two main things you can do to avoid music-related DMCA takedowns. Oh, this is where it gets good. It's already been pretty funny, but this is where it gets good. 1. Don't play recorded music during streams. Fair ball. Don't play licensed music on Spotify. That's a pretty reasonable ask. And honestly, most people should probably long since have been doing that since we had this fucking shitstorm happen at the earlier part of the year. Oh, and number 2, delete VODs and clips that might have recorded music in them if you're unsure about the rights. Which, again, is fine if you're, like, starting now, but if you've been in the game for a while, literally impossible.
Yeah.
Which is why people are mass deleting. You're not going to see them go back and fine-tooth comb, you know...
And not in 3 days.
10 years or 5 years or 3 years or 1 year worth of content.
No.
And be able to accurately do that. You just mass delete all that shit. Especially since, hey, Jem, I have a question for you. Is the content creator themselves the only people capable of creating clips of their videos?
No.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
So not only do you have to worry about the shit that you've personally done, but because clipping can be done by literally fucking anyone, except for like you, unless you've set it up for like followers only and shit like that, which most people, that shit, they probably don't even know that exists because it's a relatively new feature. But you can do that now. You couldn't for a long time. You know, that's the reality of it. Hundreds of thousands of clips not made by the creators themselves.
I honestly think like Twitch botched this so bad that what they should have done, this is going to sound extreme, but they've fucked this so hard in every conceivable way.
Are you about to say they should have nuked the entire site from orbit?
The entire site.
Yeah.
They should have wiped everybody clean, said, listen, guys, we're going to give you 3 days. You know,
save what you can.
Save your favorite clips, download your most highest viewed, your favorite VODs. You got 3 days. We're nuking the site.
Yeah, and then
we're
just
wiping
fucking
everything. So there is no more of this shit because, you know, it's not their obligation to leave anything on the site. You know, if they want to delete something, they can delete something, DMCA or not. And they've screwed this so hard that they should have just flat out said, guys, we fucked up. And you know what? This is going to be a headache for us, for you guys. There's going to be a lot of uncertainty. So you got 3 fucking days. Save your favorite moments. You know, ain't nobody getting DMCA strike. And we are nuking the entire site. Everybody, nobody's safe. When you wake up in 3 days, there's nothing. It's gone.
Here's all right. Let's fine tune that a little bit. All right. So the biggest problem right now is that any public content is the problem. So, what you do is, you set everything that's a VOD private to only the content creator and their assigned editors that you can assign as a content creator on the site to do VOD clipping and stuff like that on the back end, highlighting and whatnot. Only those people on every individual channel have the ability to see any VOD content. All right, so that's step 1. That should give people more time than 72 hours. Now we say, all right, guys, nobody is seeing anything of your VODs. You now have insert X amount. At that point, you've got 3 months because it's not public. It's sitting on a server somewhere. It's a grace period. You've got 1 quarter to save as much of it as you want and as you can. And then after that 3-month period, we are literally pressing the red nuclear button and everything is gone.
Yeah.
And then, moving forward, these are the rules that everyone has to adhere to. These are the repercussions otherwise. And that's it. In that same 3 months, Twitch doesn't get to sit back and jerk off the entire time. They have to create tools that they don't have right now, that they should have had 5 years ago, to manage all content moving forward on the back end. Much more efficiently, much more quickly and much more safely for the content creators. Because the problem is that you can do everything that Twitch has suggested, but short of not streaming at all, you are still going to get caught up in automated systems.
Yes.
It's that simple. Jim Sterling of the Jimquisition was tweeting here yesterday that even on YouTube, for example, he pays for all of his music. He has license for all of his music that he uses in his videos. Yep. He has now for a couple of weeks been flagged every fucking video for shit that he pays for. So even if you're playing the game as you're supposed to and following the rules and doing everything right, you're still fucked.
Yeah, and the reason is the reason why you're still, and it happens to me on my channel. I mean, there has been times where I've had to go and reach out to the people that are putting this dispute on, because they don't know that you have licensing rights, especially if it's a piece of music that tons of people license. Yeah. So if that's the case, they just assume you didn't pay for it.
It's guilty until proven innocent, which is the most backwards bullshit on the internet. It's this simple. Look, all you do is you make sure if YouTube's automated system has a database of shit as it stands, and you have license, this is what you do. YouTube should allow you to upload the tracks that you're using in your content, right, that you own license to, so that the backend can scan it. It knows what's in that video. Yeah. You then write in your rights, your license. You apply that license to your content. Yeah. And then if a thing comes in and flags it, YouTube's system goes, wait a minute, no, this is here, and sends that information automatically to the person trying to make the claim. And then they go, oh, our bad. Everyone's done.
And I mean, worst case scenario, you don't even do that. But when they do a dispute, they automatically don't take your content revenue away. They give you 24 hours, 48 hours to provide proof. You provide the proof, then it gets approved and nothing goes through. Even if you have proof and you don't bring it out within 48 hours or whatever, then there's a takedown, or you're going to lose the revenue for the video, which I think is another fair way of doing it if they didn't want to get that fucking crazy with it every single time. But yeah, I agree. The whole thing is a mess. And I'll say this: if there's anybody out there that figures this out, that finds a way, whether it's licensing, whether they create a platform, whether they create something that helps streamers and broadcasters with music related stuff, they are going to get filthy rich very quickly.
Harris Heller is already going to make a fortune off of stream beats. Like he provides it all for free, but he's going to make loads of money off of it just based on plays, just based on the content he produces on YouTube surrounding stream beats, all that stuff. He was ahead of the curve, and he's one of the major people that streamers are relying on to use their music to make it all happen. But let's continue here. So they then go on to say, in addition to building and improving tools, we need to provide creators with more educational resources. On November 18th, we'll host the first of 4 copyright-focused Creator Camp live sessions. We know you still have many questions that weren't covered in this thread. We've pulled together some of your most common questions into a FAQ for further information, which you can find. They have a link there. Copyright law and DMCA are not small or simple topics. We highly encourage you to refer to our latest blog for a more in-depth explanation of our path forward. Now, look, if there's one thing that I have a problem with here, I'll give them some props first. At the very least, even though it's like buried in a thread that they release at like the most random times with like just brain dead fucking social media, at least they admitted that they should have had tools years ago, or a long time ago, as they say, and they should have given people more than 3 days. At least they admitted that. So there's your positives. Your negatives are everything else. Twitch's entire narrative around this continues to be that it's the streamer's fault. It's the streamer's responsibility. It's all on the streamer. Twitch is the only responsibility Twitch wants to own up to here is that they should build some tools, and they're gonna like copy paste some fucking like Wikipedia pages for DMCA related educational purposes, and that's it. They don't. Twitch to me still seems like they are as actively
I think legally speaking, they don't want to come out and say, "Hey, it's our fault, guys." Like, you know what I
well,
mean?
No,
like,
but they're obviously not going to say that it's their fault that people are on their platform doing their shit. Everyone knows that Twitch enabled the fuck out of people doing that for years. Yeah, they did.
I mean, there's Twitch's channels that were playing copyrighted music.
We
get that, but you're never gonna have corporate Twitch come out and say, "Hey, guys." I'm not
saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying they will, because they never will.
Yeah, I know, but you're pushing the narrative that they're pushing on the streamers, and of course they are, because they're never going to come out and say we fucked up and it's our fault. It's not your fault, the streamer, even though we let you guys play the music, we didn't do anything about it. And so your misfortune is actually our fault, and for that we apologize. That just opens up a legal shitstorm that they ain't ever gonna touch.
I'm still gonna grill them for it because they're a bunch of fucking assholes.
Yeah, but
it's the reality of it. I'm still gonna grill it for it. Yeah, so I mean, there's lots of people that are assholes. It doesn't mean I'm gonna stop calling them assholes. Like, well, in reality, he's an asshole, so I'll just stop calling him an asshole. No, they're an asshole. I'm gonna call him a fucking asshole. And Twitch, fucking asshole. It's just that fucking simple. They don't have. Here's the thing. They don't have to make the narrative this. It's not an if or. So it's not that that if they don't make the narrative streamers, that they have to make the narrative their fault. They can do this neutrally, and they can't do that. But we all know that Twitch's PR reps are not exactly the most fucking on the ball people in the game today. We've seen it with just about every public release in the last 2 years, whether it's Black Heritage Month or any other moment where they've had to come out and do anything with any kind of cultural sensitivity or any kind of awareness.
We gotta speed.
I know. We gotta speed it up. Don't worry. There's gonna be lots of just fucking flying through the shit. But anyway, that's the reality of it. They're not very good about it. This is continuing to show that. I look forward to sitting in the classroom and listening to Twitch 101 on DMCA work. And I look forward to seeing just how long it takes them to develop the tools that they say that they should have developed years ago to make all this a little bit easier. But until then, you're just getting fucked on, and they just don't care. That's just that simple. Moving on. With this year's N7 Day, BioWare has announced that Mass Effect Trilogy is in fact happening. We had rumors of that a few weeks ago. The remaster is to be released next spring. And will include single-player content and DLC from the first 3 games, including all the promotional items like weapons and armor that ever came out for any of the 3 games. So all that shit's coming out. It's all remastered, but remaster is the key word here. They're not remaking them or anything. They're doing some quality of life improvements. They're optimizing it for 4K playback, and I suspect adding a bunch of maybe like 4K textures, or they'll have like uncompressed textures and shit, because that by itself will make these games look great. I mean, none of those games have aged that poorly that 4K textures and upping the resolution wouldn't help. I mean, they're all going to look great. So that's a big thumbs up. I would love it if they at least go out of the way to do something similar to what they did with Tony Hawk 1 and 2, where they found a way to like kind of merge them into one simple UI to kind of float between games really easily, especially since you can carry your saves from one game to the other to continue the story with the decisions you make as you go through the games. So I hope they're doing more than just kind of like fucking Flex Seal slapping the fucking thing on the container and be like, oh, look at that, it's fucking, no, they're all sealed up, we're good to go. I hope they get a little bit more effort in there, but for now, that's what we know. We also know that they announced that they have another new Mass Effect game coming.
Isn't it like a prequel or something?
Yeah, it's supposed to happen, I guess, before the original Mass Effect titles. It's in development with a veteran team at the helm, whatever the fuck that means. We don't know much more than that, and of course, Casey Hudson, who was a senior director for all the Mass Effect games, is now the head of all of BioWare. So he won't be part of the team, other than the fact that he's the head of BioWare. So we don't know what the veteran team is yet. I'm sure we'll find out as time goes on, but nevertheless, that's going to get a lot of people excited because Mass Effect's a great series, and if they can somehow clean it up, quality of life, make it a little flashier. Lots of people will be very, very happy. Next up, AEW, All Elite Wrestling, Mr. Black, announced a new wrestling game, and this got me excited. Kenny Omega, who's one of the top wrestlers in the promotion, is a huge video game nerd. He spends a whole bunch of time with the Giant Bomb Crew, friends with a few of those guys, and very much a game player for the majority of his life, and a hell of a wrestler on top of that. He wanted to make and get involved in making a new wrestling game that was like his favorite wrestling games from back in the day. And as such, we now have something like that apparently in the works. So, it's a new game in development, wrestling game in development, an AEW wrestling game specifically in development, headed up by the legendary wrestling game developer Ukes, who have done pretty much almost any of the best video games for wrestling that you ever played in your entire life were done by Ukes. And then the moment they switched to the next developer, everything went fucking tits up and like literally one title. It all went to hell. They're aiming to make this game more arcade-like and less realistic, which has kind of been how the WWE games have been trending over time. They're trying to be like more and more realistic. He thought, you know what? At some point, it got too realistic and it was taking the fun out of the games. We need to kind of bring that back a little bit. And so it's an arcade-focused, less realistic, easy to pick up, hard to master was the words he was using, which I always like that kind of methodology for games. Games should be easy to pick up, but ideally hard to master. And so that's what he's hoping to do with this one. And then Hideyoki Iwashita, who directed WWF No Mercy and the Def Jam games. No Mercy is, I mean, there's your WWE 2000, No Mercy, and WCW versus NWO are like the holy fucking trinity of wrestling games. This guy headed up one of those, plus Def Jam. And Def Jam was also dope as fuck. Did you ever play the Def Jam games back in the day?
No.
No, you didn't?
I might have
dicked around a bit.
Casual, like, you know, the odd time over a friend's house, but
Yeah. So Brian and I rented them several times growing up. They were fucking fire fighting games. Really, really awesome. And all done or headed up by this same guy. So we've got somebody who's got a lot of great fighting game and wrestling game pedigree, with the idea of trying to recreate that kind of golden era of wrestling game product, with AEW, who is right now in the world of wrestling, just kind of the new young guys on the street, despite, their roster having a lot of old guys. But nevertheless, kind of exciting to see, because those games were awesome. I could totally go for the next, if AKI and Ukes got together and came out with another WCW versus NWO, but made it modern. Yeah. Yes. Give me that. I will play the fuck out of it.
I'm happy you will, because it doesn't excite me at all.
Oh, I
think it'll bomb. I think it's going to do horribly. I think they're bringing it old school, because let's be real, they probably can't afford to make an AEW game that is up to date with all of the nuances and the motion cap and all of the.
Oh, it's all very much motion cap. They had some very early footage. It's all mo-capped. It's just
yeah. But I mean, look at the stars that they got. It's very, very budget. I'm
holding out faith.
I don't.
Mostly just because of who's on it. Not.
Yeah, that doesn't. But what have they done since then? Listen. There's a ton of games on this wall behind me that I absolutely adore, and they just don't work today. And also, it's just a different time and a different era. What was good 15, 20 years ago is likely not good today.
Well, here's the unfortunate reality. The wrestling games that are out now are also dog shit that nobody is buying and nobody likes. So maybe at this point, you go back, because at some point it stopped working. So obviously there had to be a point where it branched off from what people gave a fuck about. Because the new WWE games, especially in the last 3 years, have been some of the worst rated, lowest selling garbage titles in the history of the franchise.
Yeah, they're bad, but also WWE is also at its lowest ratings and lowest, quality. It goes hand in hand. Back 10, 15 years ago, when you had the Attitude Era, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, The Undertaker. These were icons, not only just in wrestling, but just in athletes. Today you got people like Khabib, you've got people like Conor McGregor, you got people like Jorge Masvidal, UFC stars that are pushing out mass amounts of games being sold for UFC because they're the drivers. They have the millions and millions of followers on social media. They have the diehard fans. Wrestling in 2020, 2019, 2018, 2017. I'm not saying that there isn't fandom, because there is. My buddy Wayne and his wife are diehard wrestling fans. Like, they still exist, but they are far few in between now than what they were 10, 15 years ago. And in return, that affects the game sales and the quality of games. It's just, and you look at AEW, they're small, yeah, they're the next big thing other than WWE. But if WWE isn't selling games with their superstars, what the fuck is AEW gonna do? You know what I mean? I
guess ultimately maybe their goal isn't that they wanted that they're everyone's goal is to sell as many games as possible. But I don't think that they're so delusional that they think they're going to sell 10 million copies of this game. I think it's more. They've got 3 different games in development. This is one of them.
Yeah.
The other 2 are like mobile related. But like this, if they make this game and they sell 250,000 copies, they're likely going to make money.
Yeah.
So they don't have, the bar isn't isn't like super high. So, but if it was like you said, if they did have a bunch of money, then they'd have a problem, because now they got to find a way to sell fucking 5 million copies of a wrestling game that like 35 people want to play, and I'm one of them. That's the reality, but for sure they definitely aren't spending a whole bunch of money on it. But you know what? Again,
it'd be different if this was WWE going to these people and taking it back and making something, because they still have the stars.
Yeah.
They can still use their likeness.
I mean, they put Hulk Hogan on the cover of 2K15.
Exactly. Right? That would get me a little bit more excited. But what am I going to do? Is like the superstar here Chris Jericho in AEW? You know what I mean? Like, it ain't it. That ain't it.
Is Kenny Omega heading it up? It'll be Kenny Omega and whoever he is currently feuding with at the time.
Yeah, that ain't it. Sorry. Like, listen, I got mad love for AEW and what they're doing, but this ain't it.
I'm holding out hope. I want to give me a wrestling game, Kenny Omega. Give me a wrestling game that I like, because I haven't played one that I've liked since basically SmackDown, Shut Your Mouth or Know Your Role, which was like, what, PS2 a million years ago. So please, God, please provide me with a wrestling game. Moving on. Related to, I already did that part. I somehow got those mixed around. Square Enix, Mr. Black, speaking of games that spent a lot of money and did not make it all back, Square Enix has reported a loss of $48 million, largely because of the failure of their Avengers game, and haven't released sales numbers yet, and I don't think they're ever going to release those sales numbers if they don't legally have to. Because if they reported a loss of $48 million, well, that game's pretty much the only game of note that they've released in the last while. And so you can be certain that it's because they haven't sold nearly as many copies of that game as they were hoping to. So there you go.
Well, I at least cashed in. I mean, they paid me to play the damn game for a couple hours. So, I made my money.
You got your money out of it.
And the game wasn't horrible. Like, but it's just generic. I mean, it's just, you've seen it everywhere, and they don't even have the likeness of the Avengers that we all love. Like,
that's because it would have cost even more money. Exactly, imagine how much they would have lost if they went ahead with that.
Exactly. So, they would
have been $248 million in the hole.
Yeah,
if they went that route.
Godspeed.
Next up, like I said earlier, PS5 launches today, Mr. Black.
So I was at Best Buy yesterday.
Yeah.
And I finally saw the PS5 in person. They had one on display.
Was it the size of your torso?
Adam, I'm telling you. I knew it was big. I knew it was big.
But you didn't quite figure
it didn't register until I saw it. And when I saw it, I had to do this. I had to do this.
It required head movement.
I mean, Adam, the PlayStation 3 Fat is small in comparison to the PS5. I mean, the thing is fucking huge. It's thick. Like the thing is like, it's thick, and it's gotta be 2 feet long. I mean, the thing is fucking huge, bro. It looks sexy. Like it looks like a Dubai skyscraper. Just, I don't even know how you would stand it up. Like, I know it can stand up, but that's risky as fuck, bro. That thing tips over, it's breaking something. Like, I'm telling you, you would lay that shit flat, it would take up a section of my desk. Like, it's bigger than my keyboard. It's bigger than my keyboard. Like, it's huge.
Oh, it's huge. It's enormous, bro. When they showed those pictures, it didn't really dawn on me how big it was until they stacked the fat PS3 up against PS5.
Adam, the picture won't do it justice. You got to see it in person. When you see it in person, you're going to go, what in the actual fuck? What in the fuck? And I'm the type of guy that's like, I don't give a fuck, man. I'm used to having a big ass tower, throw a console in there. Dude, even for me, it had me guessing, where the fuck would I put this thing? The thing is huge. It's huge.
Dude.
It's not going to fit in like regular ass entertainment sets.
No.
Like the ones that come in with normal cubbies that you slide in your receiver and stuff. No, that ain't it.
At least the Series X, which is substantially smaller, at least the Series X can stand up safely.
Yeah.
Like that's the preferred position.
You are not standing up the PlayStation 5 unless you got it in some sort of like bracket, like on the side of an entertainment set. I would not stand that.
You got an industrial cable, tension cable.
I'm not even joshing you on this. The thing is that big, and I couldn't pick it up because it was in a case. I can't imagine how much it weighs. It looks like it is like the PS3 was a brick. This thing is like a foundation. It's like the whole fucking ground floor. This is the thing you build the house on top of. The thing is huge. It's massive. I couldn't believe it. So yeah. No, I guarantee you, they're gonna come out with a slim model. They have to come out with a smaller PS5 model, and that shit's gonna sell like hotcakes. Because when people realize actually how big this fucking console is, I can't imagine how big the box is. How big is the box to the PS5?
Huge.
It's gotta be like the size of a monitor box. It's really huge. It's big. It's heavy.
Hey, here's the crazy part. All right, so a couple of notes. One, I've seen a lot of people legitimately saying what you just said, where they wanted to get a PS5, they went in, or they've seen it in person, and then they didn't buy it because they said, I actually can't fit this console anywhere in my entertainment system comfortably. I have nowhere to put it. And so they just flat out didn't buy it because they have nowhere to put it, and they said the same words, I'm gonna have to wait for the Slim or whatever fucking like 3 years from now when they come out with a revised model, because I can't fit the shit.
My guess is that we're gonna see some sort of smaller version of this PlayStation within 2 years. There is no fucking way that this is the answer. There's no way.
You know what the craziest thing is? You know what the designer said? He said at one point it was actually going to be bigger.
No, the answer is no. I'm surprised Sony doesn't have like its own display that you can buy with it to like make it look nice. And like put it in there so that it's nice. And
a fucking pedestal for the PS5.
Seriously. And you could make a cool Sony PlayStation 5 like entertainment piece that like is its own thing, that you could have little blue LED lights that like, make the thing light up on the sides like an actual Dubai skyscraper. And it sits in the middle. Like they could come out with, and I'm sure someone probably will design something. It's that big. I'm telling you, I want to know if there's anybody in the comments section that PS5 that actually stands the thing up. Adam, when you stand the thing up, it has to be.
Is it as tall as your child?
Yes, damn near close. It's definitely the size of my torso. Like from my shoulder right down to here. Like it's gotta be that big. It's fucking huge. I had to do this. Like I had to look. I couldn't just. It was like being in a video game and you got to change your field of view to like see everything that's going on. I couldn't believe it.
You need an FOV slider in your living room to see the entire PlayStation 5.
Straight up. Now, I'll say this. It looks like a quality product. It
Sure.
don't look cheap.
Sure.
It looks like when you're spending fucking $800 or whatever the damn thing, or $700 or whatever it is, you're going to feel like you're getting your money's worth. Like, you know, I'll give them that. It's a nice looking console. But I mean, Jesus.
So notwithstanding, a couple of other pieces to go through for the news out on PS5 Day. So, Sony has confirmed that you cannot store PlayStation 5 games on an external storage device at this time. So last week we confirmed that you can't, that the firmware isn't available yet to expand the internal storage with an NVMe drive, because they're still waiting to have a better list and an idea of what will actually work and whitelist them, so you can't expand your internal storage. But people were hoping you could at least store PS5 games on an external hard drive and swap it to the internal storage.
There's no games.
Well, I mean,
they don't exist.
So to your point, I mean, there are a number of people that are taking PS4 games that they have installed right now and moving it to the PS5. Also, there, you know, if you do have the PS5 and you are buying a couple of games, so I'll give you an example here that popped up here momentarily. So they confirm that isn't an option at this time. On the Xbox, you can do that. You can store it on external HDD and swap it with the internal memory, and vice versa, so that you don't have to re-download games, whatever. It's not a huge deal that it's not happening now. It might be for people who are trying to move multiple games with them, but in the future, hopefully the future isn't that far away, and the firmware is coming to let people do that shit, because not everyone wants to re-download a 140 gig game every time they want to fucking go back and play it, and they don't have the internal storage because the console only has 600 and fucking some gigs of available memory. So yeah, a bit of an unfortunate thing, but I'm sure they're working on something for that. So yeah, in fact, Sony has said whatever this means, Sony has said they are exploring the options for the future in regards to that. They're exploring it, like Christopher fucking Columbus. They're getting out there on the boat and they're looking around a little bit. We also found out this week that firmware in the future will allow the PS5 to output resolutions up to 8K, though for what purpose, I couldn't fucking tell you, because you're sure as shit not playing games at 8K unless you're playing Minesweeper. The DualSense controller battery life is also supposedly similar to the DualShock 4. People were wondering about that because obviously there's a lot more functionality with the DualSense controller versus the DualShock. And other controller colors are coming in the future for those who want to splash some color on their DualSense controllers in the future. So, beyond that, as far as the PS5 games are concerned, it seems that Gran Turismo 7, Ratchet & Clank, and Returnal are all slated for the first half of 2021, with Horizon Forbidden West coming in the second half of 2021. I just have it in my notes here. I will be fucking blown away if all of those hit the release dates.
Ratchet
how many?
Clank, maybe.
How many games are listed here? Let's see. We had 1, 2, 3, 4. Of the 4, Jeff,
One.
One?
Ratchet and Clank.
Okay, that's the one that's hitting?
That's the one that's hitting.
All right. Yeah. I think of all of them, I would say that Gran Turismo is the one that will hit.
Yeah, might.
I think it'll be Gran Turismo.
Might get both. You might get two.
You might get two. You might get
Gran
50.
Turismo and Ratchet and Clank.
50-50.
50-50.
50-50.
You're definitely not getting Horizon Forbidden West.
I would be shocked.
You are definitely not getting that game. That is not coming in 2021.
No, I don't think so.
Smoking every piece of pipe you can think of.
Generally speaking, from what I've seen of early interactions with the PS5 floating around social media from those that were sent a console early, it's generally very positive, similar to the Xbox experience for people so far. I've seen some complaints of interesting software interactions that have resulted in the console crashing and or freezing. And not everyone is a fan of the user interface at this time, but otherwise, so far so good. Very positive responses, in particular to the Miles Morales Spider-Man game, and also very positive with the Demon's Souls remake as well. Not that either of those would be shocking. The Spider-Man game was already fire. Miles Morales looking more fire. And we watched Demon's Souls. That is legitimately the most intriguing game of the next generation that exists, pretty much bar none right now. And then, yes, to add to that storage note, so perhaps the most obvious issue is that storage is already an issue for some. So, for example, Jeff Gerstmann, who had his sent to him, mentioned that after installing No Man's Sky, which just got, we mentioned this the other week as well, the next-gen update to bring all that stuff from the PC to the new console. So he's got No Man's Sky, Borderlands 3, which is another new release with updates, and Watch Dogs, which is also a brand new game release. So those 3 games are all No Man's Sky is the update, but otherwise new releases with updates for the current generation. Between those 3 games and the fact that I think he doesn't mention this in the same sentence, but he does mention the size of Call of Duty, so he may or may not also have Call of Duty. He's already hitting.
That's kind of a big.
Yes. So, but let's assume. So, in my notes, I have here. I'm assuming that he also has Call of Duty because Call of Duty's 200 gigs on its own. So, just Call of Duty, as he mentions in his tweet, is 1/4.
Yeah.
Actually, more than a fourth.
Yeah.
Of the entirety of the PS5's current offerings of storage internally. So, if you're a Call of Duty player, it better damn well be the only game that you plan on playing.
Good news, most Call of Duty players
only play Call of Duty.
Play Call of Duty.
So that's good because it's the only one it's the only one they're getting. Especially if you get like the one that just comes out tomorrow on top of Warzone, you're now looking at like fucking 300 plus gigs just for 1.5 Call of Duties. So between those 3 though and possibly Call of Duty, he's basically already hit the wall. So you're looking at 4 titles. Give or take. If you split Call of Duty into 2 other titles, it's basically what we were saying before. You're looking at maybe 5 games, and that'll be your rough estimate, plus or minus. Somewhere between 4 and 5 games is what you're going to expect, which, thankfully, again, as you mentioned, other than, unless you're somebody who's into pretty much everything that just came out recently, so Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs, whatever, that just came out, and you're looking to play them on the new consoles, thankfully, you might not run into that issue. However, I do hope that for the sake of PlayStation 5 players, the firmware for the expanded storage, or at least storing it outside the console, and then bringing it back later, comes sooner than later, because holy fuck, that's brutal. And like Jeff Gerstmann mentioned as well, as we talked about last week, they must not have been able to financially commit to a 2 terabyte internal drive. Otherwise, they would have. I have to imagine it was just too expensive and they couldn't make the pricing work because it would have drove the price up too high.
The next line of consoles, right? The next line, they'll come with bigger hard drive storage spaces. And I mean, like we've regurgitated, there's not a lot of games out right now.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be frank with people. And
all right, Frank, what do you got?
I'm gonna be frank. If you're trying to ship over like fucking 2, 3, 4 terabytes worth of games on a console and you're upset that you can't hold every fucking game possible, you need to start rethinking some priorities. All right. I'm just going to keep it 150%. If it's life or death for you that you can't have 15 titles fully installed on your PlayStation or Xbox all at the same time for the off chance that you want to play one or you play all of them, yikes. Get a second job. You're doing too much. Unless you are Jeff Gerstmann that gets paid large amounts of money to have video games on its consoles.
I mean, I can appreciate wanting to be able to store them so that you don't have to re-download them. I think that's reasonable. That's fucking reasonable.
I get that, but I mean, fuck.
Not all at the same time. I appreciate all at the same time.
Exactly. It's like, dude, you can have
storing them, yes.
Games, but why do you have to have 30 games installed and ready to go at the drop of a dime? I mean, Jesus, it's 2020. Most download speeds these days or getting you a game downloaded pretty fucking quick. At most a few hours for a lot of people. Have the shit run overnight if you really need to. Do you actually have to have every single title you have installed on your godforsaken PlayStation on day one? And here's the crazy part, Adam. For a lot of people, it's yes, only because they got nothing else to do with their fucking consoles. What else are you doing? You got no games to play. So let me feel like I'm doing something and get my money's worth. Let me just take every fucking game I have and try and cram it on here because I got nothing to play. What else am I going to do? Maybe if they had a fucking game to play day 1 or day 2 or day 4, they wouldn't have to worry about this because they'd be playing one fucking game for the God knows how long, but they have nothing to play. And unless you like Dark Souls or you like Spider-Man, you got fuck all. And Spider-Man's going to last you, 8 hours? Come on. I've got fucking 40 godforsaken PlayStation and Xbox games, and I got maybe 2 installed on my godforsaken console. 2. And usually when you beat the fucking things, you don't just go, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to leave this on my hard drive just in case I plan to play it again. Uninstall the fucking thing and install your next game. The fuck?
But again, I appreciate wanting to store it off of the console so you don't have to re-download it. Some people have data caps. We don't have to live with that, Jeff. We aren't living in the archaic world of data caps, but unfortunately, a shitload of people are living in the world of data caps. And Call of Duty is already chunking 1/5 of an entire month worth of fucking data for a lot of people. So being able to store that shit is useful. And hopefully for the, like I said, for the PlayStation 5 users, hopefully for the love of God, they have a fucking a firmware update for that shit ASAP, because there will be, it might not be you and it might not be me, but there's 110 million people with a PS4. I'm going to hazard a guess that some would like to be able to have their games stored off the console for use in the future. It's a different animal, to say the least. Xbox, though. The Series X also launched a couple of days ago, with stock being as limited as we all realized it would be, just like the PS5, fucking like impossible to find anywhere. People managed to pull it off, but in the end of the day, you know, what are you going to do? It's the same as pretty much any other console launch. And so, yeah, sold out pretty much in the first couple of hours. Amazon pre-orders, interestingly enough, unfortunately, will not be showing up for a lot of people until December for some, until the end of December, in fact, for some. Because stock wasn't high enough. Now, Amazon has done this in the past, where they've oversold pre-sales and then fucked people on the other side. So, just as a heads up, you know, Amazon is not good for day one pre-ordering. Once in a while, for some people it is. But for the majority of people, you tend to get dicked on. So don't rely on Amazon, because Amazon oversells all the fucking time. So that's a bit of a pain in the ass, to say the least. So keep your head out, or keep your eyes out to make sure if you did get an Xbox on Amazon, that you're going to get it before the end of the year. Several faked videos of this video. In fact, you talked about this on Twitter as well. Several faked videos. This is the level. See, this is how you know, Jeff, that console wars hadn't had social media even in 2010 to really make this shit happen. 2010, social media, still in its infancy. Most shit was still happening on forums. But now, 2020, bro, social media is fucking everywhere, and people are hardcore about their products, and console warriors are the most fucking toxic shit-heel humans on earth. And the first thing that some of these guys did is that even though they bought an Xbox, they went out of their way to fake some shit to post on social media. Chiefly, there's a couple of guys, one of which, and it's not surprising because they're vaping, which automatically, and no offense to people out there, already tells me they're fucking stupid in the first place, doesn't even lift the camera up high enough for us to not see that they are physically blowing vape smoke at the bottom of the console, and it comes out the top, and they were like, holy shit! My Xbox is on fire internally. Look at the smoke coming out of it. Also not realizing, and obviously having never seen a real electronics fire, that electronic smoke does not look like that.
It doesn't look like that.
It's not even close.
No.
It doesn't look like your favorite fucking dick-flavored vape juice. It just doesn't work like that. So anyway, that floated around a bunch, went everywhere. Tons of people stupid enough to believe that it was a reality. And then, of course, Xbox's amazing social media said, today, said their tweet, I can't believe we have to say this, but don't blow vape smoke into your Xbox. Because that's where we're at. That's where we're fucking at. Don't blow vape smoke
and people have ping pong balls sitting on the top of their Xbox.
That, however,
which is pretty cool.
Is pretty dope.
It's pretty cool.
And does not hurt the console whatsoever.
No, whatsoever. Just the air coming up from the console.
The vortex there, just keeping
it there, just floating.
That's the fire.
It's kind of cool.
Bro, a lot of people are going to do that. As soon as they see that ping pong ball, people are going to have like fucking, I bet you the next thing you're going to see is like characters drawn on the ping pong ball. Or they're going to try various other materials to float.
If somebody wants to jump on it, customize ping pong balls for your Xbox. Get your gamer tag, get your clan tag, get whatever thing you got going on.
That's right.
I think there's probably a killing to be made in the ping pong ball stuff over the next year, 2 years.
Get in on it while the getting's good.
Get in on it. It's getting good.
So that happened. And then, of course, there is some, like any new console launch, there has been some, what seems to be anyway, although I don't think we've had anything confirmed yet from Microsoft, though they say they're looking into it very seriously, of course, that there are some disk drive issues insofar as that some of the disk drives are making some horrible noises. Noises that sound like it's basically eating your disk. And it almost sounds like to me that either the consoles themselves have a fault where some of the drives are maybe not perpendicular well enough, and it's throwing the disk off canter, and it's actually like hitting the inside of the drive or something, or maybe the arm in the drive is fucked. Hard to say, but it sounds pretty fucking terrible. And a few people have had it for sure. It wouldn't be the first time disk drives had similar things like that, but if there is an actual issue and it does crop up, Microsoft, after the Red Ring of Death, has been like numero uno for let me replace your shit because we don't want another shitstorm. Can you imagine social media during the era of Red Ring of Death? Microsoft would have literally game over. Would never have recovered.
Yeah, it'd have been done.
There would have been a meme of Phil Spencer coming out, or no, at the time would have been Don Matrick would have come out and said, like the Tiger King, I will never financially recover from this.
Yeah, it would have been done.
Would have been absolutely terrible. So yeah, that is seems to be a more legitimate possibility, and so just keep an eye out if your Xbox does exhibit that, but it's been pretty small. Also keep in mind, like any new thing electronic, the default or the faulty equipment rate is going to be higher. It's the reality of the fucking system, and then as they make more and more of them, that tends to go down, and they all aim for like less than 1% of all consoles made having issues. Next up, as a cool little piece, and actually kind of tied to that as well, Phil Spencer, in an interview with Shack News, mentions that there was actually a time that not long after Don Matrick left in 2013, and Microsoft got their new CEO in Satya Nadella, Spencer was left to pitch the idea of unifying the widely splintered Xbox division to the new CEO and to stay in the space. Because apparently, after Don Matrick almost fucked it into the earth with his micro dick and left and then bankrupt Zynga afterwards, it was so bad, and they had split the division in so many different places, that they were considering getting out the game entirely. PlayStation was outselling them on such a high ratio that Microsoft legitimately looked at the division and said, guys, I don't know if this is actually worth continuing. And then everyone else in the division was left. Phil Spencer was the only one that remained. He pitched it to Nadella to keep it going and to let him bring all of the Xbox divisions under one roof and not split it out, because he thought that was part of the problem, and obviously it was. And then went on his quest to rebuild the entire Xbox division. And now here we are today. And I think Xbox's or Microsoft CEO is probably going, all right, you fucking did it. We'll keep putting money into this bad boy. And obviously they did, because they just bought fucking ZeniMax Studios for $7.5 billion. So, well done, Phil Spencer. You fucking made it happen. Also, in that same interview, I believe it was, Spencer said that in relation to, at this point, I have in the notes, the mythical Elden Ring, which is the next Miyazaki Dark Souls game that was being penned, the story being penned by what's his name? George R.R. Martin. Which everyone then realized that this game was probably never going to be finished because he can't even finish his own books. We haven't heard anything on Elden Ring in ages and ages and ages. And the first thing we hear about it is through this interview, where Spencer said that not only has he seen a bunch of it, he's actually played a bunch of it. And he said it's easily Miyazaki's most ambitious project yet. That's all we have. At this point, that just means that Elden Ring is still existing and it's still being developed. We have no idea where it is, but if it's partially playable, that's at least some good news. And now, Mr. Black, it's time for the fastest sellout segment you've ever put together. Give me what you got.
If you don't already get a Stream Deck, well, you gotta get one. Link is in the description below. It's that time of year. It's Christmas time. So go ahead and treat yourself or treat a family member or friend with a Stream Deck. You can get a mini, a regular size, or an XL. They also got microphones with it, which is their Wave products. They've got green screens. They've got lighting. You name it, they've got it. Go and check out Elgato. Link is in the description below. We don't have a promo code or nothing. You just go over there and show some love and go pick up some products. Also, we got NordVPN, and there's a special going on right now. The normal 68% off on a 2-year term when you use the promo code OTT. Plus, they didn't tell me what it is, but they said, plus, if you get a 2-year term, they give you a special holiday gift. And I don't even know what that is. I couldn't tell you. They didn't tell me. So if anybody goes and buys it and gets the 2-year thing, why don't you spoil us in the comment section, please, so I actually know what it is. But you do get something special, and you still get that bonus month as well. So you get 25 months. Also, same thing, 30-day money-back guarantee. If you don't know what a VPN is, you can mask your IP so you can bypass region-blocked content. So you can mask your IP to a different country or area. Also, you can stay safe and anonymous, whether you're at your home or at public Wi-Fi's. You can have this hooked up by one click of a button via an app on your phone, extension on your browser, desktop app, smart TV. They've got an app virtually for everything at this point. The top of the line servers, so you have very fast servers. You can game on them, you can stream on them. And at 68% off, a bonus month, and a holiday surprise when you use that promo code OTT, well, it's time. NordVPN.com/OTT.
Hey, Jeff, you ever heard of Elf on a Shelf?
Yes.
What about NordVPN on your computer? It doesn't rhyme, but that's the best I've got.
That's the best. And Patreon.com/LagTV.
And now it's time, Mr. Black, for
movies and TV.
The Rock is set to produce a Scorpion King reboot, Mr. Black. At first, when I heard this, I was like, man, The Rock, well, you know, he's 14 times the size he was back when he did the original one. Maybe he'll go back in because he's juiced out of his mind. But no, he wants to produce it, not star in it. And so I don't know who he's going to get, but we'll see.
Sure, Rock. You know what I mean? Sure.
You go do you, Rock.
You do you, Rock.
No Time to Die actress Lashana Lynch receiving a huge amount of social media backlash over her role in the film, whereby, due to the story beats, she takes over the 007 title. She deleted her social media apps to avoid all the negativity, but this continues to show the wildly toxic nature of the social media sphere surrounding movies and TV.
Yay!
Good job, racist people. You did it. You fucking assholes. You know what? I bet you that movie's gonna be fire. Yeah, I bet you she's going to do a phenomenal job. Mm-hmm. So, Alex Trebek sadly passed away, lost his battle with pancreatic cancer this week. He was 80 years old, passed away, thankfully, at home with family, but unfortunately couldn't quite battle that one out. It was very late stage, so it's not surprising, but all the best to his family. What a legend, Alex Trebek. I mean, my God. And the thing became, you know, obviously, even though people don't want to talk about it immediately, but like, who is going to fill the monstrous Shaquille O'Neal-sized shoes of Alex Trebek on Jeopardy? And that, many people have been suggested. The one that comes up, or one of the ones that comes up the most, though, is LeVar Burton. And there's currently a petition out to have that done. He even retweeted it himself. So I think somehow in his mind, LeVar Burton is also thinking, I'd fuck with some Jeopardy right now. And you know what? I'm for it. I would take LeVar Burton for sure.
That's a good
pick.
That's a good pick. I mean, he's a nice guy. He's soft-spoken. He's
articulate as fuck.
He's articulate as fuck.
Which you need to be if you're going to be the dude at Jeopardy, yeah.
He comes from what, Reading Rainbow?
Yeah, I mean, well,
you know what
Star Trek,
like,
Reading Rainbow. He's like the education
sense.
guy. I mean, like, yeah, it just makes fucking sense. People were suggesting Ken Jennings, which is the guy who's like the most winningest member, I believe, still of Jeopardy. But you know what? I don't think he's a bad guy, but he doesn't fit that role. I don't think.
I think you need a well-known figure, not only for. I think they just need a well-known figure, literally for ratings for one, and a transition for somebody that has been proven to be a good person and that could fill. It's hard to fill in those shoes, but do the best job that you could, and somebody that can basically do it until they die. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna if LeVar wants to do this. Like this is his life's work for the rest of his life. I mean, this isn't something that you come in. You're basically you're basically pulling a whatchamacallit when Bob Barker left.
You're doing Drew Carey. You're doing Drew Carey.
You're doing what Drew Carey did.
Drew is a little bit younger. Drew is a little bit younger than LeVar Burton. LeVar Burton, I just checked it, he's 63.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's healthy. And I can't imagine. I mean, if Alex Trebek didn't have pancreatic cancer, he would have been doing this shit until he was like 95.
But that man would have until he couldn't read anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's not exactly an intensive fucking job. You just need to be able to read and have some charisma. So I think if they got LeVar Burton in, you're looking at probably a minimum 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
Of that. Now, you're not. I doubt you're gonna get. It's because Jeopardy was like towards the tail end of when game shows were really big. You're not going to get a super young guy and put him in there and be like, yeah, Jeopardy's good for another 40 years. It's like buying a new car. And it's like buying a new Toyota. Fucking.
And the people that watch it too are like older.
Yeah.
You got to talk to your audience, right? You're not gonna bring in some 35-year-old. You're not going to bring in, or even you're not even going to really bring in like a Ryan Seacrest type guy. You know what I mean?
Oh God, please no.
Who's like in his 40s, but is bubbly. You need somebody that has almost the
right speed. You need to slow down a bit.
Yes, exactly. You need to slow it the fuck down.
Yeah,
slow it down. Smile, but don't be too fucking over the top about it. And just a chill vibe, a good. Like, it's been a long day at work. Now I'm about to, consume some Jeopardy. I don't need the flash. I don't need the jokes. I don't need any of that. Just the odd little joke or the odd little thing to put a smile on or a bad pun. That's what we want. We don't need somebody out there.
We don't need
trying
a hype
to turn
beast.
this into Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. That ain't it.
You know what else isn't it, Jeff? Johnny Depp managed to lose that fucking suit. Somehow.
That whole thing's a mess.
Somehow. With over an hour of recorded confession from Amber Heard. How do you do it? Even recorded saying, go ahead and tell them, Johnny, nobody will believe you. And then they played that whole thing, and sure as shit, they didn't fucking believe him. It is nuts. Yeah. It's fucking crazy.
Listen, I'm sure they're both fucking crazy.
100%.
And they're both assholes, and they're both manipulative and abusive in every conceivable way.
She strikes me as the worst of the two.
She strikes me as fucking insane.
Abusive for Johnny Depp was probably having a few drinks and cursing and swearing a bit. Abusive for Amber Heard was cut off his finger and tell him to go tell people.
I'll beat the shit out of you. And I'll let you videotape it, and I'll still get away with it.
That's just fucking crazy.
It's crazy.
So that sets a terrible precedent, by the way, for like abuse cases involving men. That is a fucking terrible, terrible precedent.
And now he's getting fucked. So, now he's out of work.
Now he steps down from Fantastic Beasts. He apparently is still going to get paid out his contract for it, but he's stepping down. Which,
he ain't stepping down, bro. He got fired.
That means fired. That was in brackets. I think I have.
They're like, well, we still got to pay you.
Yeah.
So we're gonna pay you, but you're fired.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just fucking crazy. So unfortunately, he's out. People have been talking about how they're rumored that Mads Mikkelsen will take his place. Good pick as far as I'm concerned. He's got the look. He's got that demeanor for the role that he played in Fantastic Beasts. So
listen, I'm just gonna go out and say it. They should just cancel Fantastic Beasts. That franchise is dog.
It's bad.
Shit.
It's bad.
It's really bad.
And you know what's unfortunate?
It's not even making
money. But it's unfortunate though, because like the actors and actresses they have involved do a really good job, but it's one of those things where it's like it just doesn't matter because the material is just bad.
Dog shit. It's a budget Harry Potter that is nowhere near as charismatic or has the heart. It's dark. It's got a whole bunch of this fucking what's her face's agenda driven bullshit in there. It is hot fucking garbage. It's horrible.
The best thing that came out of it, and I don't remember his name, but the guy who plays the lead role in that movie, the best thing it did was expose me to him because I don't think I'd ever seen him in movies before.
What's his face?
I can't remember his name, but you know what, dude? I really fucking liked him.
Actor. Yeah, he's an amazing actor. What's his name? Somebody in chat will say it. But yeah, no, the movie's bad. The movies are bad. JK is hot. Is a hot mess. She is a hot mess. She got way too much money and not enough sense. She is a hot mess, bro.
Oh, right. He played, sorry to interrupt you, but he's the guy who played Hawkins. Hawkins, and Eddie Redmayne is apparently his name.
Yeah. Dude, Fantastic Beasts is a bad movie. It's not, they're not
good. It was not good. I've seen it.
Harry Potter fanboys. I mean, fanboys.
I like watching the Harry Potter movies. Fantastic Beasts was not it.
This ain't it. That ain't it.
It wasn't it at all. No. It was really awkward. The only thing that, like I said, that came out of it was that it put me in front of him. And I was like, wow, he's killing this fucking... I was like, the material's garbage, but he seems, and it makes sense because I forgot that he had done that movie as well. He seems like a phenomenal character actor. He's somebody who really fucking nails the little... He's
great, but he ain't enough for me to go see Fantastic Beasts 3.
No, I'm not going back in his... No.
The first two, I saw the first one because, Kale was like, oh, it's Harry Potter, I gotta go. Saw the second one because I felt like I had to. Because I saw the first one and I just loved going to the movies.
Commitment.
And then after the second one, I said, I ain't going to it. It was so bad. The CGI's bad. The writing's bad. It's confusing. It's too dark. There's too much shit pushed on you. It's just awful. It's really not good. And the jokes are bad. It's just like, fuck me, man. Somebody's got too much money. It's just greenlighting this garbage. And it's just like, just stop the madness. You want to put people in the seats. Go and continue your Harry Potter series, right? Spend some of your $1 billion, right? Get Daniel Radcliffe and the crew back and actually go ahead and...
Harry Potter, the later years.
There you go. Make it so that these guys are now taking over the school. They're the teachers. Do your next line of motherfucks and go ahead and make your money. But this ain't it. So, yeah, with Johnny Depp being gone, also, just axe the movie. Nobody wants it. This ain't even news. Because nobody cares about Fantastic Beasts. I haven't met a single person in my life that goes, man, I can't fucking wait till I can see the third Fantastic Beasts. I don't know a single person. I really don't. It's the same thing of the people that wanted to see like the next the next Maze movie or the fucking 18th part of not the Hunger Games, but that other stupid fucking thing that
Maze
that came
Runner.
out. No, that's what I meant. But there was another line of movies that were in that sort of teen novel. I forget the name of it. Also had a girl lead in it. The movies were hot steaming garbage, and nobody.
Divergent.
Divergent. God.
Oh, those are bad.
Burn burn it with
bro.
everything you got. That shit is garbage.
Bro, that was honestly, not only was the material bad, but the acting was
bad. Just bad. Nobody wants it. Stop the series. It's over.
How did that get past one movie?
Because it's the teen. It was the teen thing back then. It was like, dude, no. That shit.
Divergent might be the worst movie franchise I've ever personally seen.
Oh, it's bad.
As like a whole package.
You know what it smells like? It smells like a really bad failed Netflix series. Like,
yes.
It's that bad.
Don't
like,
even put it on Netflix. Like Hulu.
Yeah. It's bad.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Mr. Black, we're going to squeeze in very short
tech
support. Ladies and gentlemen, $10 every single month gets you a couple of goodies over at patreon.com/LikeTV, including being able to ask us questions on a post I put up every single week, and we are going to ask or answer a couple of really short ones here if we can. Number one upvoted thing this week is Carper Decay asking, Adam, it's COVID season and you're stuck inside more than usual. Where's the book? Nowhere. Hasn't been touched.
That ain't happening.
I've never gotten out of the house when it's not COVID season. My work schedule hasn't really changed. Neither has my will to sit down and try and hammer out a book. I can barely hammer out my reviews right now because all I want to do is forget about the fact that I've been stuck in the house for like the last fucking calendar year. Holy shit. Save me. That's where the book is. Let's see.
Yeah, if you guys are wondering why the podcast is fast, is I have to go to the property I just bought, and I have to do a walkthrough in an hour and 10 minutes.
Yes.
And it's bad weather outside, and I have to go, likely in some kind of traffic. So I want to make sure I have enough time to get there and be on time. If not, we wouldn't rush. Obviously, it'd take longer, but we're on a bit of a time constraint today.
Crunch. Alexa asks, hey guys, I'm from a smallish city of a 55,000 population, but I've been looking into moving into a bigger city. I looked into Halifax to compare the prices. All of the houses are around the same price, about 500,000. My question is I don't know where he's looking, but that's a little higher than the average.
That's a little high.
The average is closer to 400 right now.
400.
Yeah. How the fuck do people afford it? Where I live, only the business owners and doctors have $500,000 houses. Surely there isn't 10,000 doctors living. I can tell you right now, we don't have 10 doctors in Halifax. There isn't 10,000 doctors living in Halifax. I'm from Quebec, so we're not in a totally different world either. Any tips and insights you can give me? Well, Jeff will give you his insight. I'll give you mine. Well, first of all, the problem is that there's a lot of people with a lot of money buying up a lot of property that are doing it for the purposes of flipping or turning it into some sort of rental or some shit and buying it out from underneath people who are bidding closer to asking price. Everyone that I know of that have been trying to buy like their first home, whether it's for $200,000 or $400,000, has come in at 10 to 15 grand above asking price, and somebody else has come in and bid 30 grand above that, and then they lose the house pretty much every single time. The market has mostly gone up a lot because of that. That's about it. There's a lot of people moving here. There's a lot of people buying up properties. That's the majority of it. And if you look at it, the average housing cost in Halifax in the last 3 years has increased $100,000 in 3 years. So this is not from organic growth of the city or organic growth of the value of homes being built, or the quality of home.
It's more than 100,000.
It's more than 100,000 in 3 years.
155,000, 160,000
in 3 years.
3 years.
It's unsustainable for anyone actually living here. It's literally only the uber wealthy that are coming in and buying up properties for flipping purposes that are driving the cost of these places up. And a lot of them aren't even living in these properties. They're foreign agents that come in, that buy up property, that either do like Airbnbs or other random things of that nature, or rentals and whatnot. And then that's the show. And it's made it fucking crazy. 155,000 in 3 years it's uncanny. That's literally tripling the average salary of a Haligonian in 3 years, on top of what was already 7x of the salary that people had in the first place. So that's what it mostly is, and it's a bit of a gong show here, to be honest, and it's why I'm likely going to be thankful that I'm an only child and take the house off of my parents' hands, because even if I could afford it, I could not justify buying the houses we have around here for the amount of money they're asking for it. I'd live in a shack on the side of the goddamn road before I bought some of these houses that they're putting up for $450,000, and it's like a fucking townhouse that's 310 fucking square feet on 2 different floors with a drive-in garage that could fit a smart car next to 1,000 other townhouses that's like 30 minutes outside the city, and they're like, yeah, 450 grand. No.
All right. There is truth to what Adam's saying. He's very over-exaggerated. But how
do you over-exaggerate 155 grand increase in 3 years?
Well, the reality is our market has been drastically under the Canadian average in comparison to other hubs or bigger cities within Canada. And people are instead of spending $1 million for a single family home in Vancouver or in Toronto, obviously there's outside things, you can go to Victoria, you can go to different parts within Ontario where housing is a little bit more affordable.
You get out of the GTA to save 400 grand.
Yeah. So what is happening is there's a ton of people moving here. So every year there's tens of thousands of people that are moving into our province. A lot of foreigners are moving to Halifax. A lot of other people within Canada are moving to Halifax because of the affordability here, which may sound crazy to somebody that is already here that can't afford to live here. But the thing is our housing market here has been undervalued for a very long time in comparison to other parts of Canada. And now it's starting to catch up. And there is truth. There is foreign money that's coming in, but a lot of that isn't for single family homes. A lot of that is for buildings, big structures, big apartment buildings, condominiums, a lot of that stuff. The smaller stuff, there's just more people buying rentals now. There's more people buying multifamily. And so the prices are just going up. Not only that, the prices to build are going up. A while back to buy a 2x4 cost you a couple bucks. Now it costs you $7, $8. The price to build is also going up, and it's just driving the prices. You can afford a house here. Adam could afford a house here. If you're
getting the one you want that's difficult because of bidding wars right now.
Well, you can play this game, and I keep telling people this all the time. And trust me, I'm experienced. All right, I bought 3 houses this year. All right, I've done this. I know this. You can buy a house. It's just if you're going to be ultra picky and you're going to be like, okay, I need this, it's not going to happen. There's like a little over 2 months of inventory on the market right now. The average house is selling, within less than 60 days. But as of late, stuff is on the market. If it's a deal, like it sells within 4 or 5 days in multiple offers, like everywhere. Just the prices are just going up. Parts of HRM has gone up 22% this year. It's gone up crazy. So you can keep saying this. You can keep to people that want to buy. If you say, listen, I'm going to wait for the market to go down, it's not happening anytime soon.
Oh, it's not going to happen. It's only going to get worse.
It's only going to get worse. It's not going to happen anytime soon. Interest rates are at a historic low. You can get interest rates for like 1.75%. If you're a first-time home buyer, you can put down 5% on a home. You don't need to put down 20%. If you want to get really savvy about it, you can house hack. You can buy a duplex, live in one, rent out the other. Rents are very high right now. You can pay your entire mortgage off from having somebody rent your home, and then you can start the mortgage payment that you would have had, save up over a few years, and have a larger down payment. Not only that, the price of your duplex is going to keep going up 10, 15% every year, and you're only going to make more money when the time comes to sell. People just keep waiting and waiting and waiting, and you just need to get out there and you need to buy something. Obviously, you want to buy smart to a degree, but the deals are just not there anymore to go out there and buy a nice single-family home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath for $300K. It just doesn't exist anymore. Now it's $400K. And in 2 years, it's going to be $500K. And in 5 years, it's going to be $650K.
So
and in Toronto, it's going to be $1.35 million.
So here's my problem. Here's my problem with that, or in general, not that I have a problem with market economics, but here's my concern is how I'll put this is that at some point a lot of the people that are moving here, I mean, there's only so many jobs that pay enough money to be able to support.
But a lot of it's online. A lot of the jobs these days.
I get that. I understand that, but there's not that many jobs making you $200,000 a year.
You don't need $200,000 a year, Adam, to buy a $400,000 house.
I understand that, but there's also not a lot of $100,000 a year jobs. And if you really ideally want to be spending on your housing, 30, maybe 40% of your monthly income going towards housing. And if you're stretching that, then you're playing with fire. Mostly you're playing with the job market and whether or not your job is secure enough over the life of the mortgage to be able to make that happen. That's how so much shit went to hell in the States years ago, where people were overbuying on what they ate, on what they make. That's why you're experiencing people come from Vancouver to come here.
No. The reason why it crashed is because the banks were giving loans that they shouldn't have given loans to. It had nothing to do with just the people
because the people couldn't because the people couldn't.
The banks now are so strict on what you can and cannot. They're not giving out mortgages like they were in 2008. It's a different ballgame.
I'm not saying we're going to get another crash. I'm saying is that people have the habit of buying more than they can afford.
I mean, what I'm saying. I mean, they do that with their cars. The reason why they can't afford a house is because they have $60,000 worth of vehicles in their godforsaken in their driveway. They've got $30,000 worth of credit card debt, and then they're screaming and crying, saying, "I can't afford to buy a house." It doesn't make any sense. Listen. If people want to buy a home, if you can't get your finances straight, if as a household, if you can't make 60, 80K a year when you've got 2 people in a house, you're fucking, you don't deserve to own a house because you're not out there making the money and making the sacrifice. And that's fine, but you can't have it both ways. You can't say, "Hey, me and my spouse cannot make 60 or 80K a year to go and buy a house." Or if that's not the case, if you as a household you make 40K a year, if you cannot save up, if you can't save up the money within 5-7 years for a 5% down payment or a 20% down payment on a $400,000 or a $500,000 house, you don't deserve to be a homeowner. You have no business being a homeowner. What happens when your roof goes? What happens when there's a foundation crack? What happens when a window breaks? You can't be playing these games. People oftentimes that can't afford to buy a house are people that don't have their finances in order. When you don't have a $700 a month car payment note, or you don't have $400 a credit card payment, and you start cleaning up all of the bullshit, suddenly all of that can start being pooled in to afford a house. It's really not that expensive. It's not cheap. I'm not trying to say it ain't hard to save up in 2020. It absolutely is. But there's a lot of people that want all of the luxuries in life without making any of the sacrifices. And that's where a lot of it comes down to. I know plenty of people that live on a $50K a year household income. You make enough money, Adam, to go and buy a $400,000 house if you wanted to.
I'm not fucking stupid enough to do that, Jeb. $50,000. Now fucking stop here. You rent properties.
I also own property.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. I have my own house.
Okay. So you understand both sides here, but you understand that have gone through rentals. You know what the rent prices in this province are right now, in this city specifically.
Yep.
And for $50,000 combined household income between 2 individuals, which would more or less be two people working part-time jobs at that point, or just entry level on one income and part-time on a second income. You would know that just to rent even a halfway out of a crack house here in the city, you're looking at a minimum of $1,200 a month, if you're lucky, to have a one-bedroom apartment that is literally not ridden with mice shit, cockroaches, and the leftover crack stains of the previous tenant.
Once again, you're
It's
not
$1,000.
win this debate because
It's
I know
$1,000. Yeah, exactly.
I
But tell
live
me I'm
here.
wrong.
You're
That
wrong.
for $1,200 a month is not the standard
You are wrong.
one-bedroom apartment in Halifax
You're
right
wrong.
now. I can
You're
spend
wrong.
35 seconds.
If you want to live downtown,
Downtown?
sure. If you want to go and buy a place, if you want to go and rent a place in Spryfield, you're not paying $1,200 for a one bedroom. You might pay $1,200 for a two bedroom, but a one bedroom, $1,000, $900, $800 for a one bedroom apartment. I mean,
So $800. So the $800 a month. Let's say it's the lowest end. $800 a month.
Yes, that's low. That's the
Okay.
low end. So now you're
So let's-
talking
so
about
let's
a
assume-
C-class neighborhood, and you're
Yeah.
living in a one bedroom apartment. If you want to live in a C class, B class neighborhood, you're looking at about $1,000, $1,100 for a one bedroom apartment.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're looking at.
If you did the average expenditures for two people living in an apartment, $50,000 a year, at an $800 a month as just the rent, and then let's assume that you don't even own a car. You're both using transit for $80 a month. What is a month worth of transit if you buy tickets ahead of time right now?
I have no
It's
idea.
80. I think it's $80. It's 70
Why
something.
wouldn't you own a
70 something. $80. All right, so let's say you own a car. Let's say you have a car payment. What's the car payment going to
Why
be?
would you have a car payment? Why would you be a homeowner, right?
No, I'm saying
why-
you're saving. We're saving for a house right now.
just buy a car in cash.
Okay.
Buy a $5,000 car to $8,000 car.
Okay.
$2,000 car.
And hope that
And
nothing
save
ever
up.
happens to that $5,000 or $2,000 car. How many cars did you own that were $5,000 and $2,000 that you didn't have to spend thousands of dollars at least in the lifetime of the couple years you owned it to cover it?
Sure. And I
Okay.
got by. I went and bought another beater and I got through it. People don't want to make the sacrifice. People want to have the 2020 Honda Civic or the 2020 whatever out in the driveway.
Okay,
and then
so
they
so that's what I mean. You make the sacrifice. You don't own a fucking car. You take the bus.
Yes.
Okay? Because if it's $80 a month for two people, $160, that's going to be cheaper amortized over a year or more than you would be buying a $5,000 car. So let's assume you're both taking the bus. So let's say you got 80 is, you're looking at just shy of $1,000. You got cell phone payment. You're going with Kudo. You're scraping the bottom of the barrel because you're in Wi-Fi zones at all times. So you have nobody living outside the province, and you never actually call anyone. You just go on Twitter 3 times to 5 times a day and post on your Facebook about the dreams of owning your home. So now you've got $50 a piece probably on a good. You might get a plan for $35. So now you got another $100. And now you're at somewhere between $1,000 and $1,100, and you've just gotten into cell phone and you're taking the bus. Now you got food costs for two people. Food costs for two people in the run of a month is somewhere, if you're lucky, between $300 and $500 a month. If you're also buying toilet paper without stocking it up, like you're going into the next apocalypse. You can see how this is going. Most people, for two people, even if they're making all the sacrifices and not buying cinnamon dolce grande latte Starbucks coffees every single day, and having at least some enjoyment of life somewhere at any point in time. I don't know, maybe they fucking got a $5 a month sub for Technical Alpha on Patreon. That doesn't really give them a lot, but if they're giving us $5 a month, you're going to be looking at somewhere in the neighborhood, once you get insurance and shit tacked onto that and everything else comes along with it, you're looking at about $2,000 plus a month if you're doing nothing. If you are literally scraping it, you're looking at $2,000 plus a month.
Okay.
At $50,000 a year,
Yep.
take the taxes off of that.
40K left.
$40K left.
Yep.
You're then paying
$24,000.
$24,000 in bills.
Yep.
Okay.
And then you have $16,000.
You have $16,000, assuming that literally nothing else crops up. You do nothing else.
Add another $6,000. Now you got $10,000 of disposable income. Say you want to go take that vacation or you want to go fuck off or something happens to your car.
that you need to spend $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. Now you have $10,000 of disposable income a year.
Yes.
You mean to tell me that somebody, a family, that's at $50K for
Yeah.
2 full-grown people
Yes.
that are supposed to be responsible, that are going to be working a full-time job, making bare minimum, like literally working at McDonald's or Walmart, making $25K a year.
Yes.
Right? And they're spending $30,000 a year to live, and to live fairly comfortably. I mean, spending $6,000 a year in disposable income is not a small amount of money. You can still do stuff.
I can tell you in my experience, having almost done nothing for my entire 20s, and you would know this because you've watched me do it. I've done so little in my 20s that even my parents, who are the most white bread, boring people on earth, have told me, holy shit, go and fucking do something in your 20s, for God's sake. You literally did nothing. Here's the reality. In my life, having done everything, went to business school, know how to do finances out my fucking asshole, I spent a couple of dollars that wasn't business related on that TV, which is going on fucking 10 years old that I'm still using now, that now has permanent burn in. I've done very little, comparatively speaking, to most people, despite making a pretty fucking good amount of money, more than most people make in this province. And because things that happen in your life that you can't account for happened, I still don't own a home.
Okay.
And so it's not as easy as just do absolutely nothing, scrape and save, and it's just going to magically fucking happen for you. If it was that easy, not only would more people do it, but it would make the market even harder to get into, because more people would even be buying houses than there already are. But there aren't. In fact, the reason for that is, or how you can also tell that, is because the rental vacancy rate right now is what, Mr. Black?
Non-existent.
And that's because people can barely afford to get a down payment, because the realities of life is that even if you do everything right, a small percentage of people will have that disposable income you're talking about at the end of the year.
Adam, here's the thing. The vast majority of people are not willing to make the sacrifices.
Okay.
And that is just the cold, hard facts.
Okay.
It's just it. They want to spend $3,000 on Christmas time. When they get their tax return, they want to blow it on new furniture or a new television.
Okay.
They want to go on that vacation that they can't afford while having credit card debt. They want to go and upgrade their car every 3 years. So now their payments are just never ending. That's why they can't afford it. And then as the markets go up, in order for them to play catch up, they got to make even more sacrifices. And they're just not willing to do that. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Excuse me.
If that's what somebody wants to do, it's what somebody wants to do. But the same person that would have made those sacrifices and bought that house, well, their property has now gone up 30-40% in the last 5 years.
Living like kings.
And now you've made even more money than what you've sacrificed. Problem is people don't want to make the sacrifice in the now for the better tomorrow. And I don't sympathize for when people say that they can't afford to buy a home. If you make $50,000 a year and you can't afford to buy a house, that's a you problem. That's not a provincial problem. And $50K for a household income in Nova Scotia is small. It's just small. I don't know. If you got one person that makes $60K a year, my mother, who works at the hospital, she didn't have any education. She makes okay money. She still lives in an apartment building, but she lives in an apartment because she wants to. She doesn't want to be a homeowner. She doesn't want to have to go through all that stuff. She's comfortable, and there's nothing wrong with that. And she pays her rent, and everything is fine. But the reason why people can't buy houses in a place like here isn't because the barrier to entry. It's because they don't want to make the sacrifices. Listen, if you're going to spend $1,200 a month on a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, or 2-bedroom, 1-bath, like the triplex I'm about to rent, I have 2 3-bedrooms and 1 2-bedroom. The 3-bedroom is going to be $1,500 a month. The 2-bedroom is going to be $1,400 a month. It's going to rent. Those same people for $1,500 can easily go get a mortgage payment. Easily. My last house, you know it. My last house, it was $2,300 a month. $1,900 a month. That's what I paid for a 3,000 square foot house with 4 bedrooms and 3.5 bath in an A-class neighborhood. So if somebody can pay $1,500 a month, if they make some sacrifices, and they don't even need to go that big. That was my second home. I started even smaller than that. My first house, I was paying $1,000 a month. And I could have been paying $1,000 a month to rent. It's just a matter of making the sacrifices and getting that down payment. That's where it lies. Once you get in, it's the same as renting. You get the odd expense that you have to fix on your home, absolutely. But then you also have an appreciating asset. You're not making somebody else rich. That's my point of view. And if you want to learn more, I'm now doing a whole bunch of real estate content. So go check out my YouTube channel. To anybody out there.
Hey, Mr. Black. Super Kami Guru asks, this is how we're going to wrap this one up. What was the one thing you always wanted at Christmas as a kid? What was the big one?
What I always wanted?
What was the thing that you always wanted as a kid for Christmas?
That I never got?
I guess just in general, whether you got it or not.
Well, I mean, the thing I always wanted was the new gaming console or a video game of some sort. So like my most memorable Christmas I've ever had was when I got my Nintendo 64. Because I was right at that age where I'm old enough to remember it, and then like realizing the significance of getting it. And then my parents also played a joke on me, and I opened up all my presents, and the N64 wasn't there, and my sister, who was just like an infant, was getting all kinds of stuff, and I was sitting there sulking and salty. And then my dad was like, "Hey, your sister, can you go grab Vanessa's other gift that's sitting over on the deep freeze around the corner?" And I was fucking salty, and I was like, "Yeah." And I go over there, and lo and behold, it's the N64 with Killer Instinct and Super Mario 64 waiting there on the deep freeze for me, and I was happier than a fucking pig in shit.
That's a good combo.
Yeah.
Man, Christmas. I don't think I can't remember if I got the N64 for Christmas. I don't think I did. It's for something else. And I didn't get, I don't think I got any consoles for Christmas. I think all of it, I had already gotten the console at, another point in the year, and then, all that came afterwards were, games and shit. I'm gonna say the thing that I, really desperately wanted growing up was I wanted a dog, and then when we got Maggie, that was probably, the big one. Got the dog, and then the dog turned out to be, an ornery, grumpy son of a bitch, but all the same, that was probably the one. We got pictures of that Christmas, Maggie hadn't become a grumpy old woman yet, still, puppy, whatever the fuck, and super happy and whatnot. That's probably the one was the classic dog for Christmas gift. And then other than that, gaming related, even though I only used it for probably 2 years, I really, when I was super into Project Gotham Racing, I really desperately wanted a racing wheel. And I got a racing wheel one year for Christmas, the pedals and the wheel, whatever the fuck, with a shifter and whatnot, and I was the happiest fucking... And then I only played for a couple years, and I realized I was shit at the games using the racing wheel. And I was better with the controller. And then the racing wheel kind of eventually went away, and I just stuck with the controller. But yeah, I was... definitely over the moon. I quickly realized, though, that in Project Gotham Racing, trying to get, kudos, the points, when you're, fucking doing crazy tricks and shit, doing that with a wheel, fucking super hard. Doing it on a controller, not so bad. Doing it on a wheel, better for Forza.
For simulators, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so...
minimal movement,
not fucking, trying to do, Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift.
It'd actually be very impressive if you could see somebody that was god tier with a steering wheel on a game like that. And
I'm sure they exist. Oh, positive they do. I mean, there are people doing that shit with DDR pads at this point. People have long since...
Okay, so speaking of DDR pads, one last thing, because I'm
you're going to be... Yeah.
I I've been looking for Dance Dance Revolution machine, and I just want one. But the thing is,
Somebody else on my timeline was looking for one too recently.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So like I've come to realize, I've been doing some research. It's probably best to not buy the actual arcade machine, but there are companies that make DDR machines that are virtually identical to the one you see in the arcade.
But do they just run off a console in the background or something?
No. It's still, I do believe it's still all programmed like the arcade.
Yeah.
But with the arcade, you need when there's maintenance, it's very expensive, and you need to find like the proper parts, and sometimes you need to get it from like old machines, and things are discontinued, and it's a nightmare. So there's this company that makes I forget the name of it. I have it bookmarked. Actually, bookmarked. There's a company that makes these DDR machines, and then you can buy all of the parts from them. So if something and keeps under warranty, and it's a legit straight up DDR machine. They're all sold out right now, but they make them every quarter or whatever. Only problem is they're like $7,000, right? They're super fucking expensive.
That's like twice as much as just buying a regular ass machine, isn't it? The arcade, the used arcades are like $3,500, $4,000.
Yeah, $3,500, $4,000. If you get good condition ones, like $5,000. But once again, they're notorious for breaking because like you're doing so much shit on them, right? So when you get it, and you can get these custom made, so you can have like your own logos and kind of like my cabinet.
Which versions does it come with? Like all the songs from all the games, or is it only specific games?
I didn't look into that. I didn't look into the software on there. I would imagine that it's customizable, or you could download, put your own music and stuff. You better be able to do it for that, type of price. You wouldn't want to buy something and have like 15 songs and then that's the show. I would
one
imagine
song,
that,
Sandstorm.
But
that's the only one.
So that's gonna be something that I might reward myself with come like next Christmas, if everything is going well. Then I think I might order one. Not this year, but
you could also. I'm sure there might be somebody who just like makes just the pads, and you could but then they just terminate to like fucking USB or whatever for use with PCs and consoles. And then if anything breaks, you've like reduced how much shit can possibly fucking break.
Yeah, I got to do more research, but I've been looking into it, and they're fire. It's just cool to have. Like,
well, the only thing that they'd be left to do is to buy a really old box fan and make sure it's sitting next to it, and then just play 7 straight hours of Darude Sandstorm until you're sweating buckets. That's the secret. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we got time for. Mr. Black is going to have to literally break the law to get there in time. But we will see you guys next week. Thank you very much for stopping by. Hit the like button and leave us a comment in the comment section below, as always. If you could do so kindly. Hit the bell icon so that you get reminded when these go up, so you can do so in the first hour, because it goes a long way in helping us get this stuff out. And tell somebody about the podcast if you think they'd enjoy it. Until next week, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for stopping by and listening to this shorter than usual podcast. We'll see you next week, and until then, peace!
Peace!